All right, yeah, I wanted to talk to you today about Backlog. Um, I'm excited to talk to you about it. I really enjoyed the film. I was really impressed by it. We can get into that a little bit later, exactly what I liked about it. But I just wanted to, see if you could introduce yourself real quick. Tell me a little bit about you, your film background, things like that.
Yeah, hi. My name's Jacqueline Elyse Rosenthal. I'm a writer, director, producer, mainly of social impact projects. And I've been directing for about 10 years now, writing for a very long time before that, and just really love making things that can shine a light on people.
Nice. Did you study at a film school, or how'd you get started?
I got started way before that. So I started in the industry when I was about 9. That's when I was acting, and then I had a career as an actress for a long time, and also wrote on the side and had a couple of people mentor me as I kind of came up in that world. And then started directing with no training, just really loved it. And directed some commercials, directed a feature actually with very little training just because I saw an opportunity and I really wanted to make a story come to life. And then I realized I wanted some formal training. So I ended up going to USC and for my master's and graduated in 2023.
That's awesome. So great. That's interesting you say that you started out with acting. I've interviewed other filmmakers and several of them have actually said the same thing. Do you still do any acting, or have you kind of just
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
switched over?
No, I honestly feel like there's no reason you have to choose a lane. I think art is art. So I still act quite a bit. I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. Nice. Yeah, some of the other filmmakers say they just kind of lost interest in acting for some reason, but I think it's cool to keep doing both as well. I like doing both myself. So let's talk about this specific project and basically what inspired you to create this. What's like the story behind it?
Sure. Well, I really honestly knew a little bit about the backlog. Are you familiar with the backlog at all, David? Before
Well,
the film?
no, I wasn't until
Okay,
I
yeah.
watched the film.
Most people aren't. Most people aren't. Even people whose kids are on the backlog aren't really aware of it. It's, any time there's something that's not handled well on a government level, it's not like they want to announce it. So essentially, for anyone who's watching this who doesn't know, the rape kit backlog is uh, millions of rape kits that will never be tested by the government. Essentially, what happens is 3 of 1,000, and the statistics change, but 3 of 1,000 cases assault cases go to trial. And oftentimes they won't test the kit unless the case is going to trial. That's usually how it works. The problem is if they tested these DNA kits that they collect from survivors, they would find that multiple people who have come forward have been assaulted by the same person. Um, so the problem with the system right now is they are not testing those rape kits. People are getting away with doing this over and over again because the system enforces that the survivors are not protected. It kind of unintentionally protects the perpetrator. So I wanted to make this film alongside my EP, Valerie Newman, who it's based on her life story coming forward. And we're actually working on a feature length version that's been through a couple labs. And I'm really looking forward to making that with her.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a like a powerful story. And from my perspective, I was like shocked to hear it that was actually happening. So much so that like when I was watching it, I was almost like, this doesn't even seem like believable at first. Like, how is it possible that that's happening? So, and at the end, when it's explained in the text, it's like, wow, no, this is really happening. So I think that uh, like you said, a lot of people don't know about this, and I think that this is a really good way to like bring awareness to it. And it's crazy that it's happening and so many people don't know about it, and it just
Hmm.
feels like something literally like fictional. Like how could that be
Hmm.
real? That's happening. So I think that's a great, you know, like kind of like story behind the film. But the film itself, when I like review films, I try not to like give a film extra points for having like a good like message behind, or like having like a good purpose. Like I try to just film like review it based on how good it is as a film, and I think this film, not only is it like has a powerful message, but it's also really well shot. And so I wanted to ask you about like the process for you. What was that like? Any challenges that you faced doing that?
Sure. Yeah. I'm very meticulous when it comes to film. I believe your work, most of your work is in prep, and really then choosing the right actors to bring something to life. But for Backlog, I had about a 500-page production book that I created for
Wow.
myself and for my DP. I'm kind of like that. I tend to think that, and I know everybody has their own process, but I really want to make sure that I've studied. I think it's like any profession. Lawyers study their cases before that goes to trial. I think a really good director needs to understand exactly what they're trying to achieve in that moment, and in acting where you have objectives and excuse me, the characters want to achieve their objective in the scene.
Mhm.
Did they, okay, the character, the want is to get this person to agree to, um, you know, uh, come to dinner with me.
Mhm.
Well, in the directing side, and you have to like, the actor has to have all these different emotions they bring up in the other actor. But I think the
Mhm.
director has a job like to understand the scene so well from a visual standpoint that you know what the objective is, but your objective isn't like about the characters convincing each other. Your objective is like about the audience. So I do feel
Yep.
like I'm very particular about thinking about that in advance, especially like my biggest thing with the DP is really sitting with them. And the number one thing I want to talk to them about is if the camera is moving or if it's still. And if it's moving, where is it moving? Why is it moving? What part of the page of it is it moving? So I think we really decide all those things in advance. And I think some DPs really like working with me, and some really find it hard initially because I it's never me telling them what to do. In the pre-production phase, that's when I want all these things like for them to speak up and say, "Hey, maybe we do it this way." I really like to build my shot list with my DP, not individually and not just them, because I think that's where you really can understand where the story goes. And then when you're there on the day, of course, you're going to pivot if the light's doing this or that's doing that. Or you're like, oh no, I don't feel close enough to the character. Let's swap out a lens. But I think it's helpful to have that level of prep because if not, you're kind of like gambling on somebody else's time and money. And sometimes it's even your time and money. And it's really good to take care of your team and then have some time to play.
Sure. Yeah, and I noticed like how like intentional the shots were, um and like the imagery and symbolism behind a lot of those shots. I noticed that each shot was very intentional, like I said, and a lot of thought went into it. So I really appreciated that when I watched it. And the saying of like show not tell, like show don't tell. I noticed that a lot with the shots, and it was some subtle stuff too, and I was impressed by that. Uh, but something I like to ask. different directors is like how you balance, um, being flexible and being like planning and being, prepared. That's something that I kind of, I direct some like, I've directed like short comedies and stuff, nothing like too big, but that's something that I kind of struggle with a little bit is balancing that. Because I think I'm more of a flexible type person, spontaneous. Like if an idea comes to me during the day, like on the day that it was not in the script, and I think it's funny, I'll just throw it in there. And then, but other people like to have everything planned out and don't like to do that so much. So how do you balance that?
I'm really a planner. I know everybody has their own like
Mhm.
system, but I've just found that that works best for me. Because I mean, the only time I do really vary from things is when my actors want to try something, I give them that take always. And so that, and, I just, again, I think I'm more of a planner because when we're in pre-production, I often rewrite the script with the actor so that it's already organically in their voice. So then on the day,
Mm.
I think some directors would, maybe be stressed if the actor's like, "Can I try it this way?" But we've already tried it that way because that's usually actors are really smart and their instincts are pretty spot on. So if you hire the right actor, but if they're feeling it when they first read the script, that's when it's going to be the most real. So I often like to do that work with them before. And then when they're there that day, they already like, it's already them playing this part.
Mm.
But sometimes, fresh things will come. So then I'll give them a bonus take at the end of that setup. But with my when what does change a lot is having to combine shots with your AD. And then that affects the DP. So I do think that's where the days kind of have to be really improv. And sometimes it's really great. Or you get a shot you weren't really expecting.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's always so different. Every production is very different.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I wanted to talk about kind of like the message here. I mean, it's like clearly you want to like raise awareness for this issue, but like what else did you want the audience to feel and come away with or take away like after this watching this film?
Truthfully, I really wanted to film it as if you were experiencing it yourself. I think that that's like why film is such a strong tool. It's really hoping this film would help someone walk a mile in someone else's shoes. So it wasn't just for anyone who's been through this because we all know what that feels like if we've been through it. It was for someone who hasn't necessarily been through it or can be an ally. I really wanted them to yeah, to understand that it's not a just get over it situation.
Hmm. Yeah, I noticed that it felt very grounded, like that it wasn't just kind of like a Hollywood depiction of it. It felt more realistic, like how things would actually go down in that situation. And I appreciated that. Um what one other thing
Thank you.
I'm curious about that I noticed that I like when I watch films, something that is a little pet peeve of mine, I guess, is just like when shots linger too long or scenes are too long. It just I don't know. I'm just a get maybe impatient person, but I noticed that this film was like the opposite of that. It was like really fast paced, and I thought that was actually refreshing. Was that an intentional thing that you wanted to do? Is that something that you like to do normally, or was it just not intentional?
I think it was pretty intentional. Yeah, I'm thinking about the future and it's the same. In fact, let's see, the entire film takes place in the first third of the future. Well, not the
Mm,
entire film, but the up until the flash forward of like 3 years later, 4 years later, it's all that's all just the first half of the film. So it moves very quickly. Um, and the thing that was hard about making a short when this was really always intended to be a feature for me because I really wanted to explore the relationships and all the subtle, fallouts that happen from when a community turns their back on someone from something that happens to them that's not their fault. But it was like really hard to do that in a short. And I think that's very kind of you to say because the pacing's so important in
Yeah.
a film like this. Because I really wanted it to feel like, especially in the feature, there's so many stockpiled moments of when you're young, it's just like this opportunity, that thing, that thing, that thing. And it often feels like everything, when you're a bit older, you realize, wow, everything moved a mile a minute and you
Hmm.
don't get that stillness. And so I think the feature is really it's kind of like a whiplash situation
Yeah.
of when it gets to her life after, it's just very calm and like, but very dull because that's the only way that she can kind of get through what happened to her is just to turn off all the lights and and suck out all the color from her life. So it's just very monotone and the pacing just it feels very abrupt because that those moments are like uncomfortably still and I do think yeah, I really wanted to play a lot with the essence of time and how it can feel so fleeting. But really, honestly, we can always. I think Valerie, the person, and me are very similar people. Valerie in the movie, in the short, her name is Mallory because USC was worried that we would get sued, even though was the EP on the short. They're
Mm.
really, really careful with legalities, but
Yeah.
but was very much on board from day one. And so in the future, she's working on it with me, and we're both very similar where we prefer to be busy people. And so when something is really slow and very not busy in our lives, it's usually because something's wrong. And so to have that, I think the thing about the feature that I like the most is it goes from very stillness after, and then slowly in the future, she's a dancer because I was a dancer. And there's a sequence of when the time is spinning, like she's doing pirouettes and she's slowly kind of falling off of balance and then she falls and breaks her ankle and like loses her kind of will to keep pursuing this kit being tested. And so there's after that, there's like this really, really calm thing. And then she gets an opportunity to speak on a news station, which is what really happened. And she ended up
Mm.
going for it. But in the feature, we show that like she is hesitant to actually take that interview because she's not sure if her speaking up will actually make a difference, which a lot of survivors often feel. And so she was like, okay, well, finally have this opportunity, but I don't think I want to take it anymore. And her life is very, very stagnant. And right when she leaves that, I really want Viola Davis to play that character, the
Mm.
news report, the journalist. I feel like she helps so many women and she's such a strong person. And she has chosen to make her strength very feminine, but also like, I don't know, there's something about her that I really feel like would be great in this role. And so they have this really beautiful conversation at a bar where her character is like, oh, shoot, I chose a bar. Obviously, Valerie's really uncomfortable here. And they have a really honest talk. And Valerie's like, sorry, you chose the wrong person. I'm out. You should have been here 2 years ago. I'm done. And she leaves and she walks by this because I wanted to take place in Cincinnati where it happened. And she walks by this dance studio, but you don't like really know it's a dance studio. You just kind of hear the music and you just see like the light in her eyes kind of reflected from this open windowed studio, or like just transparent studio, and the snow falling and all these business people behind her and everyone who's like very drab and like this choice she's taken. And then you just see like the light kind of come back on her eyes and then you see her silhouette and it's all these dancers
Mm.
doing like Swan Lake and she like this person who's like given up everything just all of a sudden starts to feel alive again and kind of dances with them. And yeah, I think like after that, it's just go, 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 go toward the end of the movie. But
Mhm.
I really love the idea that for a good solid like 30 minutes, it's very much like uncomfortable for the audience to watch it. Cause I just want them to be like, I kind of want those 30 minutes to feel like 5 hours.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I
But I
mean,
haven't, yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, you can. Well, I mean, has it been shot yet? The feature?
No, no. So I had an option, which was very nice, but they wouldn't let me direct it. And I felt like that's not gonna be what this should be because I just have this I don't know, I have this like hope that a survivor is gonna be helming this story. And if I just sent it off, I couldn't guarantee that. And so I said no. Oh, I would have just been the writer. I
Well,
said
you
no.
clearly have like a really strong vision for it. Like it
Thank
sounds like
you.
you have the movie in your head already. Like, so it feels like it would be a shame that you for you not to do
Oh,
that.
thank you. It was hard to say no because I really want this to no longer be an issue. But I have some really great reps who, thank God, were encouraging me not to give up on making this myself. And so we'll see. I mean, I really do believe in it. It just got in a lab that I'm not allowed to talk about yet.
Hmm.
Um, so eventually we'll be working on it more with them, which is cool. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I hope I get to do this. I really feel like I need to do it before I die.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, um, yeah, it sounds like you're very passionate about it and you have like a strong vision for it. So hopefully you'll be able to do that. Well, I guess last thing, is there anything that you learned from this process as a director, like um any like lessons you've learned?
Um, mm, well, I mean, the biggest lesson was to be open-minded about who will support you. Um, Going into this film, I had many support organizations who had promised me money and before the film came about disappeared before we began production. And there was a very kind organization that was our fiscal sponsor called Stowe Story Labs, and they fiscally sponsored the short. And for anyone who doesn't know, fiscal sponsorship is basically a 501(c)(3) tax deductible donation. Any donation above $1,000, I believe, is tax deductible. So you can get people to actually fund your films that way as well. And my dad was kind enough to allow me to email all of his fraternity brothers that he's still close to. And they all donated, every single one of them, to the 501(c)(3). And so they are the reason why I was able to make this film, them and So Story Labs. Um,
Awesome.
if I had closed myself off from that or said, "Oh no, I don't think it should come from," man, I there was there this film wouldn't have happened. So I just want people to know, like, to be open minded and take on as many allies as possible. And if the people that you thought would be the number one people to support your film didn't, there's probably a good reason. I think these organizations were really scared of, saying anything that could be controversial and losing their funding. So it makes sense. But if I had staked all of my hopes on them or even the promises, this film would never have gotten made.
Wow, that's like yeah, it's like really interesting and kind of pretty powerful lesson that you learned with that. But yeah, well, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk to you about. But I guess the other thing would be like, what's next for you? And I'm imagining it's the feature. Is that right?
So I actually have about four projects in development right now.
Wow.
Backlog's one of them.
Mm.
My first feature is going to be a project called I'll Have My Cake, I'll Eat It Too, which is a dark comedy
Mm.
or a dramedy about the entertainment industry having to rebuild amid the fires in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So we made it pretty far in the Sundance Labs. We didn't actually get in, but we've met some really lovely people through Sundance who are trying to support our film. So that's really cool. And then I just finished a project at Sony, which is a sci-fi short that they gave a grant to make for a virtual production. So I filmed on the LED wall stage there, and that's heading to the festivals right now, and being packaged as a series.
Wow.
But
Okay.
Backlog is where my heart lies. And then I'm writing a slasher thriller,
Wow.
very fun thing with my friend right now, my best friend from middle school.
Wow. That's pretty versatile projects there, you know. It's cool that you're doing something serious but also doing fun things too. So
They're
uh,
all very social impact. Even the slasher thriller is because I feel bad for technology. Like, do they have a heart? Like, why do, I don't know. It's like it's like they're all very thought pieces. Even the sci-fi is about environmentalism and not colonizing other moons and planets. So, they are different genres, but they're all kind of like, if you boil down the story, the kernels are all kind of similar.
hmm, that sounds awesome. Look forward to checking those out, definitely. Those sound legitimately cool. So,
Oh, thank
it'd
you.
be cool to hear to see those and see your style in a different type of genre. See how it kind of translates. So that'd be cool. But yeah, well, that's pretty much it for the interview. But it was great talking to you about Backlog. Again, I loved it.
Thank
One
you.
of the best ones we've received so far this year. So we'll see what happens at the end of the season. But yeah, it was great, and it was great talking to you. Very thoughtful and insightful stuff.
Oh,
You
thank
you
you.
were talking about with your film. So yeah, it was great talking to you and meeting you.
Yeah, I'm definitely an old soul stuck in a young person's body. So just trying to make the most of it by making films.
Awesome. Yeah.